Let's look at the cast of Glamour Girls and where they are now.
If you grew up watching Glamour Girls, then you already know it wasn't just a movie. It was an era. The fashion, unmatched, the drama, addictive, the scandal, spicy, and those unforgettable one-liner. Pure good, but beyond all the glams and the wide high society vibes, the movie gave us characters that stayed in our heart. One of them, the unforgettable Jane, played by none other than Benson. But where is she now? Let's take a walk down memory lane and also peek into the life of the woman who made Jane an icon. Back in the 90s, when Nollywood was just heating up, Glamour Girls came in like a hurricane. It was bold, daring, and nothing like we had ever seen. And right in the middle of it all was Benson, playing Jane, the sophisticated senior girl who knew how to walk into a room and own it. Jane wasn't just a fine face with nice clothes. No, she had layers. There was Jane behind the power. Her elegance hid a quiet storm, and Benson played it so well. It felt like she was staring straight into your soul through the TV screen. That look, that stare, chills. Before Glamour Girls, Benson was already a familiar face on Nigerian television. Remember Fortunes? She played Mrs. Agnes Johnson, and that show was one of the biggest things on NTA in the early 90s, but it was Glamour Girls that crowned her the queen of Nigerian cinema. Just when we thought Liz was going to keep ruling Nollywood forever, life threw her a painful curveball. She lost her husband, Samuel Gabriel Etin, and everything changed. The once ever-present actress disappeared from the screen. No premieres, no interviews, no new movies, nothing. Then came a surprise no one saw coming. Benson gave her life to Christ. She became born again, turned her back on the bright light of Nollywood, and went into full-time ministry alongside her second husband, Bishop Grates. They founded Freedom Family Assembly, a church where Liz wasn't playing a character anymore. She was living out her calling. But you know when they say talent like that doesn't just fade, Liz slowly made her way back to acting, but on her terms. No more chaotic drama queens. She chose roles that aligned with her faith and her new life. Calm, wise, motherly, and inspiring. By 2024, fans were buzzing again when she was spotted filming A Mother's Son, a movie that marked another chapter in her remarkable journey. This wasn't the same Jane from Glamour Girls. This was a matured Benson, still graceful, still powerful, but now with a peace that can only come from within. Benson's life is a full circle. She went from the glance and scandal of Nollywood fame to heartbreak and spiritual transformation, and then came back as a respected elder in the industry with purpose. Her story isn't just about fame, it's about growth, grief, grace, and God. It's proof that even our screen goddesses are human, and sometimes the most glamorous journey is the one that leads back to self. If you remember Jennifer Okere, you remember the spark she was. If you don't remember Jennifer Okere, it's not your fault. Her time with us was far too short, but make no mistake, Jennifer burned bright. In Glamour Girls, she played Sandra, one of the younger, more naive women trying to navigate the dangerous waters of Lagos high society. Sandra was ambitious, but also soft-hearted. And Jennifer, she wore that contradiction like a second skin. She had that classic Nollywood beauty, soft eyes, a gentle smile, but what made her unforgettable wasn't just her looks, it was her thinness, the way she would lead her head slightly when betrayed, the sadness that flicked in her eyes before the tears came. You didn't just watch Sandra, you felt her, and that's because Jennifer Okere wasn't acting, she was living that role. Her performance in Glamour Girls is remembered as iconic, and rightly so. But Jennifer was no one-hit wonder. She starred in the 1992 classic Living in Bondage, the film that practically launched Nollywood. That movie was a blueprint, and Jennifer was right there at the foundation, helping to build what would become one of the biggest film industries in the world. Just as her star was shining, just as Nollywood was catching fire, the unthinkable happened. Jennifer Okere passed away in 1999. She was only 30 years old. Her death sent shockwaves through the industry. So young, so talented, so much more to give. And yet, in her brief time on screen, she left behind performances that still move us to this day. Jennifer may had a short time in the spotlight, but her impact eternal. She wasn't just part of Nollywood history, she helped write the first page. Gloria Young, the blueprints for longevity in Nollywood. If you remember Doris from Glamour Girls, then you remember that unforgettable mix of sarcasm, street smart, and survivor instinct. Doris wasn't just a character, she was the big sister energy of the group, wise, protective, and never caught off guard. And the woman who brought her to life, Gloria Young. But here is the twist. Not many people know that Gloria didn't even start out as an actress. Long before she stepped in front of the camera, she was behind the scenes, chasing stories as a journalist. Yes, Gloria worked with Daily Times as an energy correspondent, writing columns and covering hard news. Acting came in the early 90s, and Glamour Girls became her official Nollywood launchpad. While some of her peers faded from the spotlight, Gloria stayed consistent. She didn't just act, she owned every role she played, from motherly characters to business moguls and tough love aunties. Gloria brought a sharpness and authenticity that made her performance unforgettable. With over 70 films to her name, Gloria Young's character is not just about quantity, it's about quality. And beyond the scene, she's also stood out for something even more powerful, her honesty. Gloria has been incredibly open about her personal struggles, especially her journey with childlessness for 7 years. She and her husband, fellow actor Norbert Young, tried to start a family. During that time, she faced intense pressure, family, society, even fans had opinions. But Gloria didn't fade. She spoke up about the pain, the prayers, the pressure, and how love saw them through. In an industry where people often stay silent about their battles, Gloria's vulnerability earned her deep respect. Fast forward to recent years, and Gloria proved once again that she's still a force. In 2022, she made a bold return in the hit streaming series, Diche. Fans watched and said the same thing. She still got it, and she really does. Gloria Young is more than just a Nollywood actress. She's a symbol of resilience, grace, and staying power. She came in strong, stayed relevant, and never lost her voice. She's not just part of Nollywood history, she's Nollywood legacy. Ngozi Ezeonu, the queen mother of Nollywood. If there is one woman who turned playing a mother into a masterclass in grace and power, it's Ngozi Ezeonu. But before she became Nollywood's most beloved actress, she was Thelma in Glamour Girls, a character soaked in elegance and magnetic charm. Thelma wasn't the loudest voice in the room, but she didn't need to be. With just a look, she drew your attention. She was mystery wrapped in sophistication, a perfect reflection of the woman behind the role. Interestingly, Ngozi didn't take the tropical route into acting. She studied journalism at the Nigerian Institute of Journalism and worked with Radio Lagos and Echo FM. Her transition from the newsroom to the silver screen was nothing short of bold and destiny. Her breakout role came in 1993 with the iconic Nneka the Pretty Serpent, where she played Nkechi. But it was the following year with Glamour Girls that she truly launched her name into Nollywood history. After Glamour Girls, she leaned into what would become her signature, the noble, emotionally intelligent, dignified mother. She took what would have been a flat, overdone stereotype and turned it into something regal. Whether she was playing a market woman, a queen, a village matron, Ngozi brought class, conviction, and compassion. Over the decades, she has featured in over 200 films, leaving behind a trail of unforgettable performance. Off-screen, her life has its own chapters. She was married to Godwin Ezeonu, and together they had 4 children. But like many lives lived in the spotlight, her personal story came with its own ups and downs. Still, she stood tall. She was later honored with a chieftaincy title, Adife, meaning daughter of light. And truly, that's what she's been for Nollywood, a guiding light. While some of her peers faded with time, Ngozi evolved. She embraced the new wave, Netflix films, digital production, web series, proving that real talent isn't confined to any era. As of 2025, she's not just a legacy figure. She's still working, still relevant, and still wearing her crown with the same grace and fire that made her a star in the first place. Ngozi Ezeonu is not just a name in Nollywood. She is a pillar, a standard, a living legend. Barbara, the actress behind Helen in Glamour Girls. If Helen had a motto, it would be play the game or get played. Barbara's portrayal of Helen wasn't just acting, it was act clocked in danger. As a high-end escort navigating Lagos' glittering but strenuous elite, Helen was both a seductress and strategist. She didn't beg for power, she took it. With cold-eyed precision, she bent the rules, flipped the script, and weaponized her gender in a world that pretended to value integrity but truly rewarded illusion. One unforgettable scene still lingered in the minds of fans when Helen confronts a client who refused to pay. In a single moment, she twists the narrative, threatening to accuse him of assault. The room turns cold. That wasn't just a scene, it was a social commentary, daring and infliging. After such a debut in one of the Nollywood's landmark films, Barbara star dimmed. She acted in a few more movies in the late 90s and early 2000s before stepping away from the spotlight entirely. Today, Barbara lives a very different life. She's an evangelist and a business consultant, a woman of faith and strategy. It's almost poetic. Her life, like Helen's story egg, reflects the brutal reality of many women in Nollywood. Bright lights, brief fame, then silent, or sidelining in a male-dominated industry. Barbara remains one of Nollywood's most intriguing one-hit wonder, a reminder that sometimes one powerful role is all it takes to leave a permanent mark. Zack Orji, from glamour to grace, the ever-evolving icon. When Zack Orji stepped into the role of Fred in Glamour Girls, he wasn't just acting, he was embodying sophistication. Fred wasn't loud or flashy. He was the type of man who said little but made every word count. He moved through Lagos high society like he owned the blueprint. attending the right parties, knowing the right people, and always staying 2 steps ahead. In a world run by powerful women chasing power and influence, Fred was both the gatekeeper and the silent witness, a symbol of the force embodying, extorting, and sometimes just surviving the feminism ambition. But Zack Orji's story didn't stop when the credits roll. In fact, that was just the beginning. After Glamour Girls, he became one of the Nollywood's most respected actors, featuring in over 250 films, including the unforgettable Blood Money 1997, a movie that cemented his place in the Nigerian cinematic legends. But Zack wasn't content with just being a leading man. He stepped behind the camera, directing and shaping stories with the same calm authority he brought to his characters. Then came a plot twist even Hollywood wouldn't have predicted: ministry. Zack became a born-again Christian and later a pastor. Yet, unlike many who abandoned the spotlight, he didn't choose between fame and faith. He balanced both worlds, delivering someone with the same gravity he once used in intense film scene. His life became about more than entertainment. He became an advocate for the people with disability and served as president of the Actors Guild of Nigeria, where he mentored young talents and fought for better industry standards. In politics, he didn't shy away either. He made headlines in 2023 for publicly supporting Bola Ahmed Tinubu during the election, a move that sparked conversation and controversy, proving again that Zack Orji had never been afraid of standing firm in his belief. As of 2025, he remains an active force in acting, philanthropy, and ministry, living in Nigeria with his wife, Ngozi Ezeonu, and their 3 children. Eucharia Anunobi, bold, brilliant, and unbroken. In Glamour Girls, Eucharia Anunobi lit up the screen as Anita, a woman who didn't just play the game of power, she bent it to her will. Anita wasn't the type to whisper her ambition. She wore it like fine perfume. Every word she spoke cracked with sharpened intelligence and quiet fire, crafting a character that both defined and dominated the expectation placed on Nigerian women in the 90s. But Glamour Girls was just the beginning. After her breakout role, Eucharia's career expanded with a breathtaking range. She went on to star in over 90 films, from the iconic Glamour Girl sequence to thrillers like Abuja Connection to emotional powerhouse like Later to a Stranger. Her acting matured, sharpened. Then in 2012, she took a turn that surprised many. She became a pastor, not in title only, but in truth, preaching, teaching, counseling, hosting conferences. She brought the same intensity she gave to her film roles into her ministry. It wasn't a retreat from Nollywood. It was another stage, another script, another calling. In 2022, she earned a PhD in Christian Education and Ministerial Art, proving that her pursuit of growth, spiritual, emotional, intellectual, has no finish line. Her life has also been marked by deep loss. In 2017, her only child, Raymond, passed away at just 15 after battling sickle cell disease, a tragedy that could have crushed her became a wound she transformed into wisdom. She's also spoken openly about her divorce, 2000 to 2006, the emotional trauma she endured, and her journey through healing. Yet, through it all, she has remained a pillar of strength, often offering the world insights on relationship, purpose, self-worth, and resilience. And now, as of 2025, Eucharia Anunobi is back on screen, back in the pulpit, and perhaps more importantly, completely unapologetically herself, bold, brilliant, and unbroken. Anozie played Jessica in Glamour Girls. And if you remember Jessica, you remember Trouble, the stylish, no-nonsense kind, confident, calculating, and streetwise. Jessica wasn't just navigating Lagos high society. She was shaking its very foundations. She stirred tension in elite circles, forced uncomfortable confrontations, and demanded space in a world that preferred women to smile and step aside. Tina brought a kind of fire to the screen that was unforgettable. After Glamour Girls, Tina continued her run through the late 90s and early 2000s, holding her own in a competitive Nollywood industry. She starred in films like Dangerous Sisters alongside heavyweights like Genevieve Nnaji and Tony Mays, a thriller that blended betrayal, ambition, and twisted sisterhood, echoing the kind of thing she embodied so well in Glamour Girls. But by the mid-2010, Tina Anozie began to drift from the spotlight. Her roles became fewer, appearing in less prominent productions, whether by personal choice or a shift in Nollywood casting. Tina's on-screen presence grew rare. See, for those who watch her in her prime, Tina Anozie remains part of that golden era of Nollywood, the era when a woman could wear ambition like armor and walk through fire. Jessica may have stirred trouble, but Tina stirred a movement. Clarion Chukwera played Vera in Glamour Girls, and she was very much the anchor of every scene she appeared in. Pose, razor sharp, and deeply intrusive. Her character seemed to rise above the chaos while still hovering dangerously close to it. In a film bursting with bold performance and flashy appearance, Clarion brought a grounding force, a depth rooted in lively experience. That's no surprise. By the time Glamour Girls hit the screen, Clarion was already a veteran. Her breakout role in the iconic Mirror in the Sun back in the 1980s had made her a household name. In 1982, she became the first Nigerian actress to win Best Actress at Africa's most prestigious film festival, firmly cementing her place in cinematic history. But Clarion Chukwera's impact stretches far beyond the screen. A former UN peace ambassador, she's a tireless humanitarian and a vocal advocate for African social development. Her work spans decades, not only in film but in frontline advocacy. Whether serving in socially charged drama or speaking out on global issues, she's always stood with purpose. Her personal life has been just as layered. She's the mother of celebrated music video director Clarence Peter, and as of 2016, she became a Jehovah's Witness, a move that has shifted her public presence towards quiet faith and legacy. Married to Anthony, her third marriage, she's openly embraced reinvention and reflection. Still active as of 2025, Clarion Chukwera continues to appear in selected productions, maintaining an unshaken presence in an industry known for short-lived fame. In a world where stars often fade, she had only deepened gracefully, powerfully, and with enduring relevance. Dolly Unachukwu portrayal of Maureen in Glamour Girls 2 remains one of the most chilling in Nollywood's early years. Not just a villain, but a full-blown predator masked in glamour. Maureen was the kind of character who smiled as she ruined lives, orchestrating a sex trafficking operation with the precision of a corporate executive and the cold detachment of someone long dead on the inside. Dolly played her with heroic claim. No loud dramatic, no fleeting, just eyes, which somehow made it all the more. You couldn't look away even when you wanted to. But what makes Dolly Unachukwu such a compelling figure is how much range she brought to the screen, long before she horrified us as Maureen. In the 1980s, she was part of the Mirror in the Sun, one of Nigeria's earliest soap opera that helped lay the foundation for televised drama in the country. Then came Fortunes in 1993, where her character Fedake gave audience a different side of her, a softer, more layered portrayal that made it clear Dolly wasn't just acting, she understood the woman she played. And then she did something almost unheard of in the era. In 1997, Dolly wrote, produced, and starred in Wildest Dream, a semi-autobiographical film that cracked open her private life. It tackled the emotional wreckage of her first marriage, pulling no punches about betrayal, domestic trauma, and the raw aftermath. In a time when silence was the rule for Nigerian women, especially public figures, Dolly chose truth. She turned pain into story. By the 2000s, she shifted again, this time literally. She moved to the UK for her second marriage. It didn't last, but either did she fold. Dolly pivoted yet again, enrolling at the University of East London, and in 2008, she earned a degree in film and video, reclaiming her narrative from behind the camera. During her time abroad, she worked on Indian films like The Empire 2005, Sisters Love 2008, and more recently, Private Matters 2022. Quick release, not slashing Nollywood comebacks, but proof that the flame hasn't gone out. In 2016, she married a third time, this time to a pastor, Dr. Olaniyan, and began using the name Dolly Unachukwu Olaniyan. But even that marriage didn't hold. See, Dolly remained upright, based in London, raising her children and navigating her faith and art. She speaks openly about her journey and her complicated love for Nollywood. She hasn't made a full return yet, but she hasn't disappeared either. Dolly's story isn't just about movies, it's about survival, reinvention, and the kind of strength that doesn't ask for applaud, but earns respect anyway. Remy Abiola played one of the original party girls in Glamour Girls, and while her role was relatively brief, her presence was magnetic. She has that blend of an older sister sass and sultry charisma, the kind that lets you know she wasn't new to this life. Her scenes didn't dominate the screen, but they added flavor and texture. A reminder that the nightlife in the Glamour Girls world was layered, unpredicted, and dangerous. But Remy's story off-screen is even more compelling. Born in 1952, she began her career as a flight attendant, jet-setting across continents long before glamour became a buzzword in Nollywood. She later pursued formal training in dramatic art in the UK, and that polish and professionalism were evident in every role she played. There was a refinement in her performance style, measured, elegant, and emotional grounded. In the 2000s, Remy appeared in culturally significant films like Oduduwa and The Narrow Path, works rooted in Yoruba traditions, rich with social commentary and historical depth. These weren't just the typical VHS era flick, they were artful, intentional, and deeply rooted to identity. She stood alongside legends in those films, never once seen out of place. Remy wasn't flashy, she was dependable. the kind of actress whose role might not scream for attention but stayed with you long after the credits roll. She also carried a unique public identity as the wife of Chief Moshood Abiola, the prominent businessman and political figure whose legacy shaped Nigerian history. It added a layer of complicity to her life. Navigating fame. Remy passed away in New York in 2009 at the age of 57 after a quiet battle with cancer. Her death was a subdued heartbreak in Nollywood circles, one of those losses that didn't come with noise but left a lasting silence. She may not have played the loudest role, but Remy Abiola was quite flame in Nollywood, a presence you felt, remember and respected. In Glamour Girls, Thelma Nwosu played Laura, one of the young women drawn into the seductive, dangerous world of high-end escorts. Laura didn't command the most screen time, but in every moment she appeared, there was an unmissable gravity to her presence, soft-spoken, composed, but with a look that hinted at survivor. She was a woman learning quickly how to adapt, endure, and profit within the transactional reality of her world. Off-screen, Thelma Nwosu was just as formidable, far more than a pretty face in a bold 90s wardrobe. She came prepared with depth, training, and vision. A graduate of the University of Port Harcourt with a BA in theatre arts, she majored in film directing, a fact that often surprises fans who assume she entered the industry strictly as an actress. She furthered her craft with formal diplomas in acting and voiceover, tools that will become essential in her multidimensional career. After Glamour Girls and its 1996 sequence, Thelma's star continued to shine. She seamlessly moved between films, television series, and soap operas, building a career that has spanned more than 2 decades, a rare and admirable feat in Nollywood. By 2020, she has logged over 26 years in the industry, earning a place among its enduring talent. In recent years, she's won over a new generation with her roles in the period-telling novella Rihanna and the 2023 romantic drama Love Like That. Today, Thelma Nwosu wears many hats: actress, model, voice artist, motivational speaker, mother, and devoted Christian. Hers is a journey of evaluation and resilience. She may have started as Laura, the quiet recruit, but she's long since become one of Nollywood's lasting flames. Raymond Johnson played one of the film's most infuriating characters, Alex, the sleek presidential aspirant who lured Jane, played by Benson, into a luxurious trap with his charm and grand promises. On the surface, Alex was the dream man, articulate, powerful, generous, but when the mark slipped, what emerged was a cool, calculating con artist. His betrayal not only scattered Jane emotionally, it became one of the film's most haunting, cautionary moments. A reminder that not all that glitters is love. Alex left a lasting impression, a devil in a tailored suit. But Raymond Johnson's own trail seems to have gone cold. Unlike many of his co-stars, he didn't maintain a long-lasting public presence in Nollywood. His name rarely surfaces in interview or major media features. It's as if he chose to walk in the shadows, deliberately away from the spotlight. Whatever his reasons, his on-screen legacy endures as one of Nollywood's earliest and most unforgettable deceivers. Sola Fosudo, he played Desmond, the safe bet, the worthy fiancé of Jane. Desmond represented stability, security, and a future mapped out with care. That is until life came for him hard. A tragic accident left him paralyzed and unemployed. Jane, under immense pressure, made desperate choices, and their once promising relationship spiraled into heartbreak. Sola Fosudo portrayed Desmond with understated elegance. Even before Glamour Girls, Fosudo was already a respected figure in Nigeria's dramatic and academic circle. A true veteran of the stage and screen, he was never one to chase celebrity. Instead, he chose roles that were intellectually grounded and socially relevant, roles that speak to something deeper than fame. After his appearance in the film, Fosudo remained mostly within television and age-based performances, especially in Yoruba language production, though he occasionally featured in English language dramas. Beyond the screen, he carved an equally formidable part in academia. He taught at Lagos State University, where he became a respected lecturer and eventually a professor. Not every Nollywood stars end up with a tenure track, but then again, not every star is Sola Fosudo. JT Tom West didn't need a full hour of screen time to leave a mark. His appearance as the well-dressed software entrepreneur who picks up Helen, played by Barbara, in a high-end hotel lobby was brief but electric, with a presence that felt like it was lifted straight from the pages of a romantic novel. His fling with all the pretty women energy stood out as one of the few hopeful romantic eggs in a film otherwise layered with betrayal, broken dreams, and hard choices. But JT Tom West brought more than just charm to the screen. He was a familiar and beloved face in the action-packed world of late 1990s, early 2000s Nollywood. Often cast as the tough guy, the smooth playboy, or the calculating gangster, he managed to inject each of those roles with an undercurrent of vulnerability, A quiet gentleness that endeared him, especially to female fans, and a surprising emotional range that earned him the trust of directors. His talent was matched by his style, whether in a suit or a shootout. J.T. Tom West has screen presence, unmistakable and unforgettable. Tragically, his rising star was dimmed far too soon. In 2006, after wrapping up a movie shoot, J.T. Tom West was involved in a fatal car accident. He was just 41. It's widely believed that a mix of road tragic and insufficient emergency care contributed to his untimely death, a stark reminder of the silent risks actors often face behind the scene. His passing sent shockwaves through Nollywood. J.T. Tom West was more than just a charismatic actor. He was a symbol of the golden era of Nollywood action films, a bridge between ragged roles and romantic leads, and a talent whose best was still ahead. Today, he is remembered not just for the characters he played, but for the promise he represented and the vow his presence left behind. Peter Bunor played Esiri, the wealthy banker in Glamour Girls, who swept Sandra off her feet with the trappings of success, luxury cars, expensive gifts, and bold promises. But his fall came just as swiftly. In a world that glorifies youth and levity, Esiri was soon replaced by the younger flasher Dennis. His character was a quick commentary on the flipping nature of wealth and desirability, especially in a fast-paced city like Lagos, where yesterday kingmakers become today's forgotten men. For Bunor embodied sophistication with his refined looks and deliberate delivery. He was often cast as the polished executive, the authoritative father, the cultured man of means. He was a stamp of early Nollywood, the kind of face audience trusted and remembered. But after Glamour Girls, his visibility began to fade. Behind the scenes, he faced personal struggles, including a reported stroke that impaired his ability to continue acting. Peter spoke about the neglect many veteran actors suffered. Voices that once helped shape Nollywood now sidelined without support or recognition. His frustration was not his alone. It became a shared lament among pioneers of the industry. Peter Bunor passed away in May 2015, aged 60. His death was a quiet one, but his legacy remains in the memories of those who witnessed the golden age of Nigerian cinema. His story is a reminder fame may be fleeting, but dignity and the demand for respect should never be. Perhaps Atta may have stepped away from the bright lights, yet he never truly left the heart of those who watched him grow from a handsome face into a symbol of earnest, relatable masculinity on screen. His portrayal of Dennis in Glamour Girls was more than just a romantic subplot. It was a cultural pivot. At a time when Nollywood was still wrestling with what masculinity should look like, Dennis was soft yet strong, passionate yet principled. Perhaps Atta's departure from Nollywood left a gap, but it also added depth to his legacy. Choosing a life of reflection over relentless fame only cemented his all. And now, with his quiet return to the screen, he brings not just experience, but the aura of a man who has truly lived. Whether behind the camera or in front of it, Pat Atta remains a beloved figure whose legacy continues to evolve. Proof that even in the world of glamour, authenticity never goes out of style. Okere Young played Helen's older brother in Glamour Girls, a brief but memorable role that offered a rare moral compass in a film dominated by betrayal, seduction, and ambition. His character, though limited in screen time, grounded the story with a touch of family and principle, reminding viewers that integrity still had a place in that glamorous but chaotic world. Unlike many of his co-stars, Okere Young never faded from the spotlight. A consummate professional, he transited from the golden era of home videos to Nollywood's new age of training blockbusters. His career is a masterclass. Some of his standout performances include roles in 93 Days, Hire a Man, and the reboots of Nneka the Pretty Serpent. In 2022, he delivered a strong performance in Blood Sisters, a Netflix production that introduced him to a new generation of viewers. He followed this with a key role in King of Boys, The Return of the King, and continued in 2023 and 2024 with appearance in Tennis Big Day and the biopic Funmilayo Ramson Kuti. In recognition of his immense contribution to the industry, Okere Young has received Lifetime Achievement Award from both the Actors Guild of Nigeria and City People Award. Now in his 60s, Okere Young stands tall as one of Nollywood's most respected elder statesmen, a bridge between generations and a steady hand in an ever-evolving industry.